Hello and welcome to the next episode of Forward Finance, the podcast where we navigate the digital age of finance. My name is Jeroen, and today I have with me Stephan and Alexander, and we will be talking about statistical forecasting, solutions for the modern CFO, basically. And it's promised to be a very interesting episode, so hang on.
Don't look internal, don't beat the budget, but beat the competition. That's what it's all about. And you have to be ahead, but you have to be 5-6 steps ahead. And I think this is now what's going to happen, because like you see, we are in a world that we have not enough staff to workforce. So you need to, how can I make myself different or better than the other one, that people want to work for me, for us, instead of for him. And if you're an old school company, people go to the right or to the left and not to you, and I think so. This is also why you need to have.
All right. Well, Alexander, Stephan, why don't you give a short introduction about yourself so the audience knows what we're talking about? Alexander, why don't you take a start?
Yes, thank you, Jeroen. Now, my name is Alexander Mick. Now working for more than 6 years within the team of Rockfeather. It's basically one of the sister companies of Finext. And we are constantly focusing on data-related topics to help our clients. And my role is the team lead of the data science team. So data science is the part where we look for predictive solutions to have a prediction towards the future.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds promising.
Yeah, indeed.
Stephan, why don't you tell us something about yourself?
Yes, of course. So my name is Stephan de Wit. I'm working for Finext now. I think 23rd year already. Still going strong and working in the area of planning, forecasting, cost and profitability management. And I always try to find the new ways of modern forecasting and look how we can the most accuracy ways of planning. That's my goal.
As you can hear, the experiences of the two gentlemen are quite alike, and that's no coincidence, because today we will be talking about a solution that was developed by Rockfeather regarding statistical forecasting. So for the audience who have never heard about this before, Alexander, can you give a quick, brief overview of what it is that you guys developed?
Yeah, definitely. So I think the main goal, the main objective of this solution that we tried to create with the team data science was to help out, first of all, the clients of Finext to become more accurate. So that's also what Stephan is talking about. So that was, I think, the first main goal that we had. Now, and then we tried to mix the data science knowledge that we had within the team with the knowledge of Finext about the planning and the forecasting procedures and the scenario planning to come up with a better new forecast scenario that was based on AI. And AI, machine learning, data science, all the buzzwords combined. For us, it's in this topic, it's basically the same. Mm-hmm. And to give a very quick overview, I think we can put it in 3 steps. So the first step is that we try to look for patterns in the historical data set based on the traditional forecasting methods. So these are the forecasting statistical methods that are already within this world for, maybe 30, 40 years. Think of the ARIMA, think of the exponential smoothing, these kind of models. A little bit old school, traditional, sometimes very well performing. So that's phase 1. So historical data set, only on the actuals, looking for patterns. That's one. Now, then the second thing that we try to do is to add newer models, newer developed models, statistical models, that are coming from the machine learning and the data science category. Exactly. Yeah. And then we also only look at the historical actuals to look for those same patterns, but then with newer models. And what we then also do, for example, if you have 5 different products, then we do not use the same model for all the products. No, we create basically, and that's already part of the solution that we created, for every single product, we have this competition-based algorithm selection style. So, for example, we have 10 algorithms, maybe some old school, maybe some newer, some combinations of them, and then we put them on the historical data set, looking for patterns, and maybe for product A, the first model is the best performing one based on the historical data, but on the second tool, maybe another model is performing better. So this whole package is created to find really the best fit, to discover the patterns and to have better predictive power towards the future. So that's the second step.
Yeah.
And then we also have a third step. And the cool thing from these newer models is that you can add new features and new variables to the equation. So the first step and the second step is really only looking at products or sales actuals. So for example, you're selling ice cream. You're looking at the historical data set. Okay, in this day or in this week or in this month, we sold so many products. And only based on that data set, you're trying to find patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the next step is to also add these other features, which is then, you're able to do this with the newer models. And then the interesting thing is that you try to make it, smarter. For example, with selling ice cream, if you know when the holiday is starting, the school holidays, could be a very good predictor. So maybe if you're predicting the ice cream in I'm from Zeeland, the province in the southwest of the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of Germans are there in the summer. So if you know when the school holidays from the Germans, the people from Germany, is starting, then you can predict that in a better way. So if last year the holiday started 2 weeks earlier, then you should not start buying a lot of ice cream 2 weeks earlier, because then you become way more accurate. Also, if you put, for example, the weather forecast of the upcoming 2 weeks or of the upcoming month, for example, in the equation, that can also really help you to boost the performance of the accuracy.
Right. So just to conceptually wrap it. So basically, we pick up 8 data sets.
Yeah.
We put it next to old school algorithms in order to predict the upcoming periods.
Yeah.
Then we also put it next to new school algorithms to refine the forecasting method, basically.
Yeah.
And then we add a third layer, which is like non-financial data, which could be impacting our performance in the upcoming time.
Exactly.
And this is something which is automated, of course.
Yeah.
And this is not something that a lot of an army of Indians is doing, but it's true AI.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the good thing to add here is that the solution, indeed, the whole competition, what I try to explain, that's all automated. But the adding, the process of adding new features, internal features, maybe also external features, that is, of course, still a combination of the computers and the business knowledge. So we need the people of the business that have some maybe assumptions also, or gut feeling, that they think, this feature or this external feature could be very promising in terms of predictive power. And then we're trying to extract that data. Then you need some data engineering skills, of course, to extract the data, make sure that it's added to the data set, and then we can run the models again.
Wow, this sounds like a very complicated process.
It's okay.
How many hours does it take in order when I press the button and generate my forecast? How much time do I have to wait for the...
Not a long time. It depends, of course, if you have millions and millions and millions of rows and 100 features, then it takes a bit longer. But these days the cloud platforms, they have so much compute power in it. So if you scale up during the training session, then it's a couple of minutes, sometimes even seconds.
But it sounds really promising.
Yeah. It depends on the model, of course, and the amount of data. But
of course, all the caveats being there. Okay, but still, in a couple of minutes or a little bit more, I think that's a promising site. Stephan, I see your mind rattling about this particular concept. What do you think?
I like the concept. I like the idea, and it raises a lot of questions, of course, and the reason why it raises questions is maybe because of the example of the ice cream. It's about sales numbers, it's about volumes, and with finance we always also see the other side. Finance, you have HR, you have other elements in what we call the integrated business planning, and then the revenue part and even the volume part of the revenue part is one side, and that's where you can make some strong predictions based on algorithms. But then when you see on the finance side, there comes a lot of biases and other elements in place where people think, okay, what in relation to cost, what does it mean in relation to people? Listening or looking to a P&L and said, okay, now, yeah, it's nice that you're talking about this part, but if we're talking about the whole set of what we're talking about, planning, forecasting, budgeting, it's just a small piece. And I like the small piece, and I think it's a lot of times not used, or yes, it is used in the S&OP part. We're also busy in the S&OP part, where I think that's a strong area where you need to use computer power, AI, algorithms to define your the prediction of your demand. And then on the other side, there's the, let's say, the non-finance or the financial area, or the non-sales related topic. I said, okay, they're looking maybe with a different eye on this topic. I said, okay, not for us. How do you see this? Are you mainly focusing on the sales side, or also on the non-sales?
Yeah, it's definitely also possible in the, for example, predicting of cost. We also did a project in that. So it is possible. But then again, for every cost element, you should think, okay, which external or internal features are we going to add? And you cannot really, sometimes it's possible to add some high over features that make everything a little bit more accurate. But it's indeed, you maybe also for cash flow forecasting, I think a lot of things are just common sense. So it's always for the upcoming year, you have an indexation maybe of 2%, and that will be the number for next year's forecast. So a lot of components are fixed, but some components are super flexible or variable. So they are maybe super volatile. They can go up and down, and you never know what to do with it. And those small components can have a massive impact on, for example, your cash flow forecasting. So in those scenarios, we are not really, or we're trying to aim on those small components that are volatile. So we try to make a good prediction on that specific part, and then we can use it in the bigger equation for the whole cash flow forecasting. Because making a prediction on the whole cash flow, that could also work, but a lot of those parts are fixed, so we don't really have to use AI for that, because common sense is 100% accurate. So if you use AI, maybe you have 98, 99%, maybe also 100%. But for that purpose, you do not need to use AI, only for the small parts. And then if you combine the solution, hopefully, and that's also important, we can give a better baseline. So we will never say, this is the outcome, AI, trust it. We say, this is the new baseline, and now you can use it and add your own business knowledge and everything that you have in your gut feeling, for example, your assumptions, your human biases. Those will be challenged by the new baseline, and then you can add your own adjustments on top of it.
Yeah, if I hear it right now, so it doesn't necessarily replace business controllers. It extends their ability to forecast.
Yeah, so it's more time efficient, because they do not have to create the first setup of the planning, but they have to maybe minor, maybe large adjustments on the planning. Mm-hmm. But indeed,
Why not, Alexander? Because we've been talking about this topic a while ago, and is it okay? We can make a better prediction than the prediction done by the people itself.
Yeah.
If you look to the accuracy of the system,
exactly,
and the accuracy of the more mental or wish-oriented planning of the humans.
Good one.
So you say, okay, it's a baseline, and we should never replace. I think you can replace it. Why not? The only thing is, are the people ready to trust it?
That's a good question. I think first you have to maybe use it for a couple of months, years, or whatever, to make sure that it's that people are going to trust it. But I think a good example is, I think, going back to the ice cream, if you have a new model with some added features on it, it will give a better forecast than what a planner could create if they started from scratch. But if you combine the both worlds for a best solution, I think that's the best possible way. For example, school holiday in Zeeland, and this particular ice cream stand knows that a school in Germany, they gave them a call, hey, we have this trip, and at the end of next week, every day we want, for 500 kids, we want ice cream. Now, that never happened in the historical data, so you cannot predict this based on historical data. But then the baseline of the other people that are coming to your stand is predicted by the usual AI based on the patterns that were that happened in the past. But then your own business knowledge, you can add it. So then we know there will be a peak in next week's. You get the point, right? But I think that's...
So there's still a role,
spot.
exactly, but it might be not as intense, labor intensive as it was in the past.
Exactly. Yeah, it's fully automated. So the first part is fully automated.
Right. So then this sounds very promising, but in the meantime, I'm quite skeptical because we've been talking about statistical forecasting for years now. So I understand that this is a good solution which can work and is working at a few customers, but I don't see it happening very often. Why do you think, Stephan, for example, why do you think this is not something that is adopted across mainstream businesses?
That's a good question, Jeroen. I think it all has to do with that. If you see the whole planning and forecasting solution in the area of EPM, enterprise performance management, it's pretty one-dimensional. So that means you have a few items. You only look at volumes, or you only look at and see the pattern of the past. But like Alexander said. In Zeeland, it's pretty different. It's not about Zeeland. You need to. It's an interesting starting point, but I think it probably never ends. So that's and I always relate it to sport. And I was talking to in one of the future forecastings 2 years ago. We had the national coach for the what was it? Not speed skating, the short track, Jeroen Otter. And he said, okay, we use data every day and multiple times a day. We need to have this data to predict what is possible for our athletes. And he said, okay, you have to take so much in consideration. You can't say, okay, this is the program for today. You have to cycle 180 kilometers, and you have to do it with a heart rate of 160. And he said, okay, what we now have, everybody's got a ring. And I can see in this ring what is the health status of the athletes. So you need to take this in consideration if you are able to succeed to make a specific result. And I can see, okay, your heart rate is not good. So my question is then, are you healthy enough to be able to succeed in this goal? And then I said, okay, so maybe that's the next step. You have to take all kinds of extra pieces of information. It's not only about looking at the one-dimensional sales volumes but you have to take the next step is the weather condition. Next step is to what kind of trips are coming. The other thing is, okay, what are there events in the neighborhoods? And this is a learning pattern but people only select a solution and based on what they see is there's predictive forecasting. Yes, there's predictive forecasting, but it's just a starting point. So you have to create a model with super multiple areas of information that you need to involve in this what we call a continuous improvement. There's a cycle that you move ahead. It can't be just one. You have to think ahead and step by step and then it's getting better. And in 5 years' time, you have the most accurate forecasting solution.
But circling back to the question then, because you mentioned that there are multiple variables that are making the process more complex. But then why is it that not all the CFOs in the Netherlands are using statistical forecasting? What is the restraint on statistical forecasting that you guys see in the business?
I think it's ownership. It's about what's your responsibility. If you have to gather all kind of information from all kind of people, they have their own. Everybody has a focus on their own result. So this is we're talking about information that's related to a complete company and who is responsible for the outcome. The salesperson is responsible for the sales figures, and they need to have an accurate forecast. And for X% it is not, because there's always there's other elements that you can think of. Your bonus systematics, for example. You wish to have a certain outcome instead of a realistic outcome, and that's. And HR has their own. Everybody has their own piece of the pie, and you need to think about, okay, who's responsible for the whole pie, and there's complexity, and it's not about so the tool is not the issue. Yeah. It's the cooperation. It's about taking the right pieces of information and get rid of biases, for example.
So then, if I translate this, Alexander, I can imagine example that if you are implementing this at a certain customer, the amount of people in the project needs to be very diverse. Is that something you've seen in real life as well?
Yeah. So definitely. So we definitely need people from the IT department for the integration, but also the business knowledge. Sometimes also from the business knowledge, not within the planning team, to gather external, well, not external, but sort of internal, but external outside of the department where we're creating the planning, but also the planners themselves, because they are the ones that have to use a baseline to adjust it. There's a lot of different types of people involved, but that's also super interesting.
Yeah, I can totally imagine. I mean, it's good to hear that the solutions are ready for it. It's just that the people now need to be engaged.
Exactly. And I also think it's a process. So a couple of years ago, dashboarding, and that was a new thing, the new kid on the block. We need Power BI dashboards, maybe also Tableau dashboards. But these days, that's all a must-have instead of a nice-to-have. And now I think we're going to the phase where this AI solution, now it sounds like a nice-to-have, but I hope, and I also think that in the upcoming years for the CFOs within the Netherlands, it will also become more and more a must-have instead of a nice-to-have. Because of the reasons that Stephan just explained.
And I mean, if your competitors are using it and you aren't, they're slowly pushing you out of the market. So you have to get on board.
Yeah.
Is this something, this notion of I have to use it because my competitors might be using it, Stephan, is that something you see when you talk with CFOs? Or is this something that is not yet on their agenda, you think?
Maybe it's not yet on the agenda. I think, but if you listen to Alexander, I think about it's about the information chain. So in the beginning, in the past, we're talking about, let's say, an information push. You have systems, so get data out of it, starting a data warehouse project. Now it's the other way around. So people request for information, they get it faster, and they can see already patterns by themselves without the solutions telling them. And then you're going back and said, okay, we're looking, it must be more accurate, or there must be more, we want to go deeper. And so the trust of information is coming up. And then the next era will be about we have now all kind of small pieces. Now we have to bring it together and make it more accurate, more forecastable for the future, because that's what it is. You need to predict it. You need to predict it better than the other one. You don't look internal. Don't beat the budget, but beat the competition. That's what it's all about. And you have to be ahead, but you have to be 5-6 steps ahead. And I think this is now what's going to happen, because, like you see, we are in a world that we have not enough staff to workforce. So you need to how can I make myself different or better than the other one, that people want to work for me, for us, instead of for him. And if you're an old school company, and people go to the right or to the left and not to you, and I think so. This is also why you need to have, except from all the stuff of political and supply chain disruptions, because everybody has the same, but you need to be different from the other one. It needs to be cool to work with you and for you instead of.
So it's not just a commercial competition, it's also a competition for the workforce. Yeah. It's a competition in the supply chain. It's getting pretty broad. And I think that the advent of new technologies is allowing people to work on these kinds of integrated planning processes. So I think we have very exciting times ahead. If I can make my own prediction, so that's going to be a lot of fun. So I see we're running through a lot of time already. So maybe for the future, if people are interested and keen to learn more about these kinds of topics, I think we have the future of forecasting coming up in November 24, where you can sign up. I'll put a registration link in the show notes. Alexander, are you guys organizing something for the audience as well that they can sign up to, so they can learn more about these kind of processes?
Yeah, definitely. So we have the 16th of May, we have the data and automation lineup. So it's a Rockfeather event where we are showcasing a lot of different data analytic tools and also definitely data science tools. So if you're interested in that, it's online. Yeah. So you can register for free.
Okay, well, cool. So if you're interested in learning more, then definitely check out the show notes where I put the registration links. For now, I would very much like to thank you guys. So thank you a lot, Alexander.
You're welcome.
And thank you a lot, Stephan, for being here. Yeah. And we'll speak again in the future.